evening, Pratibha. Good evening, Priyanshi.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Do we have any presentation today?
Yes, sir. Hemchand versus Vishnu Hari. You gave to someone.
Okay. Good evening, Swagata.
Good evening, sir.
Okay. किसको दी थी मैंने ये presentation?
सर याद नहीं है.
Who has their presentation today?
Me, sir.
Okay. How much time will you take, Paliwal?
So around 5 minutes.
Okay. तो वीडियो ऑन करके करना.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So नहीं, but we are not enough people. अभी तो बस 6 लोग हैं तुम लोग. बाकी लोग कहाँ हैं? Yes तो कई लोगों ने लिखा था. What to do? शुरू कर देते हैं या तो चलो या तो स्टार्ट करो हमें.
Okay, sir. My case was regarding section 54, whether the person is entitled for a legal share or equitable share. Regarding this, the case that I'm going to present is Kemchand Sankar Choudharayan versus Vishnu Hari Patil. I will give you citation in the comment box. So going further with the suit is regarding partition, which was filed in 1940 by Nathu against his nephew for partition. In that case, he got half of the share, that is around 108 acres of the land. That is 108 acres of the land. And after that, he made a compromise degree with Premchand Patil with 3 by 8 share of his degree. After some time, after 5 years or something, Premchand Patil filed a partition decree for his 3/8 share in Jalgaon civil judge. A compromise decree was settled between both the parties, stating that Nathu or his son, if paid 30,000 to Premchand, then he will abolish his claim over his 3 by 8 share. But that failed. After that, that Premchand Patil assigned that decree, the 3 by 8 part, to Vishnu Chand Patil. That is the main respondent in our case. In that, he started executing proceedings against Nathu and his sons. The property, since it has been paying revenue to the government, it would be divided by the collector. So collector divided the 108 acres by 3 by 8 share to Patil, and rest with Nathu's son. But when that execution proceeding was going on, there were 5 fields that were sold to the other party that are currently appellants in our case. Four pieces of land by a private sale and one by the court auction. Appellant acquired title. The appellant approached the collector, stating that since we had the title, you cannot give the collector did what that 3/8 share that he was given to the Patil was the same property that was already sold to these appellants. So they approached the collector to give consideration for that amount. But the collector refused that, stating that they are not the parties who are executing proceedings, and the property sold comes under the section 52 of Transfer of Property Act, that is less pendants. Any change of title in the suit will be considered as null and void, stating that they now going to the appellant challenged this decision of the revenue collector to the collector before the Commissioner Bombay. He also dismissed the claim, stating that they are not the party to a suit. They approached High Court, Bombay High Court, saying that they are also a party to a suit, but High Court also refused to entertain their suit by Article 226. Then they made an appeal before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court in this case stated that since they are the part, they are not specifically mentioned in the title, the executing deed. That doesn't mean that they are not entitled to the equitable shares. The code state that since we have seen that in case that section 52 is applicable, that doesn't bar the if the property is already sold, that doesn't bar the person who has done in good faith who doesn't get their shares. So Supreme Court in this said a perfect line to this. He said he said that the position of a person on whom any interest had dissolved on the account of a transfer during the pendency of a proceeding or a suit is somewhat similar to the position of an heir or a legatee who dies during the pendency of a suit. So the Supreme Court compared the positions of a person that the property has been sold during less pendants to the legatee or the heirs of a person. They have made standing at that same thing. So the court also said that the executing proceeding, even though their name may not be mentioned in the decree, if they apply to the court to be impleaded as a party, they cannot be returned out. The collector who has done partition under section 54 CRPC is no doubt divided it according to a decree sent to him, but he has not taken into account the shares of the person to whom the property has been sold, as they are also like a legal heir of some other person. So since he's executing over there, so he has got some power with himself to see whether there's such a right or not. If there is no dispute, the collector may proceed in a manner giving them the equitable partition of the ground. So in this sense, we can go for that. Since there is equitable, since the appellant were not the party to the suit or to the executing proceeding, but in the last they also get the equitable share. So the Supreme Court directed the collector to divide their shares with 3/8 to the Premchand Patil, and the rest with the Nathu's son, and the share of Nathu's son should also be given to that. From that only the appellant share should be deducted. So there must be an equitable, not legal kind of distribution among the parties to the suit. Any doubt?
Aman, could you please repeat what was held? I could not follow.
Raju, I cannot hear your question. Can you repeat it?
I said, could you please repeat what was held by the Supreme Court? I could not follow.
Yeah, sure. The Supreme Court said that an heir or a legatee or the person whose interest has dissolved on the account of a transfer during the pendency of a suit or a proceeding is similar to the position of a heir or legatee of a party who dies during the pendency of a suit. So such person can apply to the court to be impleaded as a party to the suit. The collector or the executing court cannot deny the position of a person on whom any interest had dissolved on the account of a transfer during the pendency of any suit or a proceedings in somewhat similar to the position of an heir or a legatee of a party who dies during the pendency of a suit or a proceedings. So such person's name might not be such person might not name not come in the decree. They can still implead in the executing proceedings of under section 54. So this Raju, anything else?
Aman, which section of Transfer of Property Act you mentioned?
Section 52, less pendants.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Aman.
Okay, sir.
We have to start from which section?
So 59.
59.
सर मैंने केस गिने आज तक के जितने 122 केसेस हुए टोटल मेरे नोट्स में, और किसी के ज्यादा हो तो बता देना प्लीज मेरे को.
नहीं, केस मैंने गिनने के लिए आपको बोला इसलिए, मतलब जनरली कि आपको पैटर्न ठीक लग रहा है सीपीसी का या नहीं लग रहा है, मैं जनरली आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ.
सर मुझे तो ठीक लग रहा है, ऐसा ही.
मे बी देखो आपको ऐसा लग रहा हो कि हम पुराना भूलते जा रहे हैं, बट देयर ना you'll have to work on your own. आपको जब तक आप सेल्फ स्टडी आवर्स नहीं लगाओगे आपके लिए वो नहीं हो पाएगा. आई थिंक आपको इस फ्राइडे से एटलीस्ट मुझसे छुटकारा मिलेगा, बिकॉज आई थिंक we've had what around 70 क्लासेस कंसिस्टेंटली हो जाएंगी हमारी इस फ्राइडे तक. 70 दिन से हम रोज पढ़ रहे हैं विदाउट अ ब्रेक. आई थिंक एक दिन हो गया था एक ब्रेक, सम टेक्निकल इशू हैड कम, बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट there's been no break. Which यार let me tell you, judiciary preparation takes effort. तो वो तो होता ही है. आप सब like I'm sure you're willing to work that hard. खैर, तो 58 हमने कर लिया था या 58 करना था?
तो 58 कर लिया था।
हाँ 58 कर लिया था.
अच्छा,
15 हाँ
कल से आप एविडेंस की क्लास ले रहे हैं?
मुझे ऐसा लगता तो है अभी. हाँ मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है एविडेंस होगा कल.
ओके ओके।
हाँ कल एविडेंस होगा.
So I have a case presentation
On
on section 51.
the case name is
Case name, it's in the Bear Act. Maruti
हाँ.
wala.
How much time will you take, Simran?
So 5 minutes.
Okay.
Should I start?
Okay. Karo. Start.
So basically the case is Maruti Limited versus Pan India Plastic Limited, and we had studied this as in I am referring to this in context of section 51, which are powers of the court to enforce execution. And what we were trying to find out is whether a director or somebody in power in a company can be held liable if there is some sort of breach. So in this case, this is a Punjab and Haryana High Court judgment, AIR 1993, PH 215. So basically what happened in this case was that a decree was passed for the recovery of 1,29,000 with interest, and cost was passed in favor of the decree holder, that is Maruti Limited, and it was against the judgment debtor, that is Pan India Plastic Limited. So what happened was that Pan India Plastic Limited was represented through Rabindra Grewal, who was the managing director, and Ranindra Grewal, who was also the managing director. So what happened was that they failed to go ahead with this execution due to certain reasons, and they were charged with contempt proceedings. But what happened was then these people, they apologized to the court for causing some kind of hindrance in the execution of the warrant of attachment issued against the judgment debtor. And later on, so this execution was tried again, and what happened was when the decree holder along with an official from the court went to the judgment debtor's place, they were not able to proceed with the execution decree, as nobody opened the door, and the person or the guard in charge who was there, he also did not open the gate, as there was nobody at home. So what they did was that they went back again to court, and they said that the judgment debtor was not able to, did not on purpose go ahead with this execution proceedings, and he is trying to hinder the court, and he is trying to take advantage and not make the payment. So what happened in this was that the court said that in order to make sure that this happens, and that the person can be detained and arrested, the powers and the application of section 51 has to take place properly. All the elements have to be there, and in the end the court said that they refer to this case called Tikam Chand Jain versus State Government of Haryana, where it was said that it is observed that there was no provision in the Companies Act making the managing director personally liable for recovery of dues against the limited company. And in the affidavit submitted by Ravindra Grewal, it was said that the execution file, it was stated that he was not possessing any property or means to pay the decretal amount, and there is no evidence contrary to be produced by the decree holder, and no evidence has been produced by the decree holder that Ravindra Grewal was in possession of means to pay the amount. So basically, the conclusion is that the person, the director or the managing director alone cannot be held accountable for any act. The company as a whole is held accountable, and the property of that specific person or that individual is not supposed to be taken into account. It is a company as a whole. And that's it. If anybody has any questions.
Is it done, Simran?
Yes, so it was very short. Basically, what had to be answered was that whether a managing director or a director could be held liable on a personal level in such a case of fraud. But as per the case they cited, Tikam Chand, it says that a managing director or any person who, even though has property or any kind of upholding, cannot be held liable on a personal level. It is the company as a whole which has to pay.
What is the name of the case? Could you please repeat?
Yes, I'll just tell you. So in the BEAR Act, it's a little different name, but the citation is right. It's Maruti Limited versus Pan India Plastic Limited. I'll put it on the group also.
Okay. Thank you. Any further questions for her? Okay. So we start with section 59 of CPC. It reads release on ground of illness, right? So as you can see, within execution, we are dealing with the question of arrest and all in civil cases. We've discussed it in detail yesterday. 59 deals with release on ground of illness. At any time after a warrant for the arrest of a judgment debtor has been issued, the court may cancel it on the ground of his serious illness. Where a judgment debtor has been arrested, the court may release him if, in its opinion, he is not in a fit state of health to be detained in a civil prison. Where a judgment debtor has been committed to the civil prison, he may be released therefrom. A, by the state government on the ground of the existence of any infectious or contagious disease. And B, by the committing court or any court to which that court is subordinate on the ground of his suffering from any serious illness. A judgment debtor released under this section may be rearrested, but the period of his detention in the civil prison shall not in the aggregate exceed that prescribed by section 58. So essentially this is dealing with a situation जहाँ कोई बीमार हो और ऐसी बीमारी की situation में उसकी रिलीज हो सकती है, बट रीअरेस्टिंग भी हो सकती है जब उसकी बीमारी ठीक हो जाए. एंड it is a provision which is meant to look at individuals जो मे बी मेंटली बहुत फिट ना हो, जिनको बहुत सारा और प्रॉब्लम्स हो, जिसका कोई पर्पस ही नहीं सर्व हो रहा उन्हें प्रिजन में रख के. सो section 59, you can like make a small note here, is an addition to the 4 grounds that we read in section 58. Okay, with regard to arrest, because illness has been dealt specifically only in 59, and the provision made is very clear that a judgment debtor may be released by both the state or the court on the ground of illness. Provisions of section 59 are self-contained and are based provisions of section 59 are self-contained and are based on purely humanitarian grounds. So you can remember that 59 is a provision which is based purely on humanitarian grounds. Okay. This was also there in the case I think Divya presented, the Jolly Varghese case. Divya, you presented it, right? Wasn't she here, Ravi? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
She left.
Yes, sir.
Achha.
Yes, sir. She presented.
So it was her case. Yes. So it may also release him where he has been arrested and is not in a fit state of health to be detained in the civil prison. If the judgment debtor is suffering from serious illness, the court should release him to escape from the moral responsibility in case anything happens to him. Essentially, again, relying on Varghese also. Adoption of either or both causes lies entirely within the discretion of the court. In other words, the court has discretion to cancel warrant of arrest or to release the judgment debtor if he is not in a fit state of health. Asthma and indigestion are not serious illness to cancel warrant of arrest. Okay, you can know this. This was held by the Lahore High Court in one case. You want to know the case? Because asthma and indigestion are not serious grounds. Maybe you'll remember such a funny case or something like that. I don't know. So this is Bohorumal. Bohuru. Bohoru. Bohorumal versus Jagannath. This is AIR 1933. LAL. I think it should have been LAH, but I've written LAL. 307. So Borumal versus Jagannath. AIR 1933, LAL 307. Can someone do a small case presentation on this? I think it will be very interesting to see how is indigestion not a ground under Section 59 for release.
I'll do, sir.
Okay. तो तुम कुछ कह रही थी मुस्कान?
Yes, sir, for the case presentation only. I was
अच्छा.
asking.
तो चलो ये राजू को देते हैं, आगे आते रहेंगे.
Okay, sir.
Fastest finger first. तो राजू विल प्रेजेंट इट. बाकी अगर आप इसका देखते हो लैंग्वेज 59 का 3 का बी, इट सेज कमिटिंग कोर्ट. व्हाट इज अ कमिटिंग कोर्ट?
So the court who has committed the person to the civil prison.
Yes, the court that has committed the person to the civil prison, जिसने किया वो ऑर्डर, इज द कमिटिंग कोर्ट. ये तो रहा 59 का. इसके अलावा एनी क्वेश्चन यू हैव ऑन 59? शुड वी गो टू 60?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 60 is huge. Huge. Who will read?
I'll read it, sir. Property. Should I read it?
Haha. Why
Okay.
not?
I thought you were about to say something. That's why I stopped.
No. Now you say many things. बोलो. तो मैं पूरा
Okay.
पढ़ोगे section.
Property liable to attachment and sale in execution of decree. Clause 1. The following property is liable to attachment and sale in execution of a decree, namely lands, houses, or other buildings, goods, money, banknotes, checks, bills of exchange, hundis, promissory notes, government securities, bonds, or other securities for money, debts, shares in a corporation, and save as hereinafter mentioned, all other saleable property, movable or immovable, belonging to the judgment debtor, or over which or the profits of which he has a disposing power which he may exercise for his own benefit, whether the same be held in the name of the judgment debtor or by another person in trust for him or on his behalf, provided that the following properties shall not be liable to such attachment or sale, namely A. The necessary wearing apparel, cooking vessels, beds and bedding of the judgment debtor, his wife and children, and such personal ornaments as in accordance with religious usage cannot be parted with by any woman. B. Tools of artisans, and where the judgment debtor is an agriculturist, his implements of husbandry, and such cattle and seed grain as may, in the opinion of the court, be necessary to enable him to earn his livelihood as such, and such portion of agricultural produce or of any class of agricultural produce as may have been declared to be free from liability under the provisions of the next following section. C. Houses and other buildings with the materials and the sites thereof, and the land immediately appurtenant thereto and necessary for their enjoyment, belonging to an agriculturist or a laborer or a domestic servant, and occupied by him. D. Books of account. E. A mere right to sue for damages. F. Any right of personal service. G. Stipends and gratuities allowed to pensioners of the government or of a local authority or of any other employer, or payable out of any service family pension fund notified in the official gazette by the central government or the state government in this behalf, and political pension. H. The wages of laborers and domestic servants, whether payable in money or in kind. This is first of H. Salary to the extent of the first 1,000 rupees and 2/3 of the remainder in execution of any decree other than a decree for maintenance, provided that where any part of such portion of the salary as is liable to attachment has been under attachment whether continuously or intermittently for a total period of 24 months, such portion shall be exempt from attachment until the expiry of a further period of 12 months, and where such attachment has been made in execution of one and the same decree, shall, after the attachment has continued for a total period of 24 months, be finally exempt from attachment in execution of that decree. 1A. 1/3 of the salary in execution of any decree for maintenance. J. The pay and allowances of persons to whom the Air Force Act 1950 or the Army Act 1950 or the Navy Act 1957 applies. K. All compulsory deposits and other sums in or derived from any fund to which the Provident Funds Act 1925 for the time being applies insofar as they are declared by the said act not to be liable to attachment. K.A. All deposits and other sums in or derived from any fund to which the Public Provident Fund Act 1968 for the time being applies insofar as they are declared by the said act as not to be liable to attachment. KB. All monies payable under a policy of insurance on the life of the judgment debtor. KC. The interest of a leasee of a residential building to which the provisions of law for the time being in force relating to control of rents and accommodation apply. L. Any allowance forming part of the emoluments of any servant of the government or of any servant of a railway company or local authority which the appropriate government may by notification in the official gazette declare to be exempt from attachment, and any subsistence grant for allowance made to any such servant while under suspension. M.
एक
An
सेकंड रुक
expect-
जाओ।
Okay, sir.
बहुत लंबा है ये, आई थिंक ये कथा प्रवचन हो रहा है इसका, बट स्टिल जनरली देखो, सेक्शन 60 इज अबाउट प्रॉपर्टी लाइबल टू अटैचमेंट एंड सेल इन एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ डिक्री। जो भी ये पढ़ रहा है आपको पढ़ना तो पड़ेगा। आपके एलएमएस में जब पोर्शन विच डील्स विद दिस हैज बीन एक्सप्लेन्ड वेरी वेल, इट्स ब्रोकन इट डाउन इनटू वेरियस थिंग्स, यू कैन रेफर टू इट, राइट? तो इसको अंडरस्टैंड करने में, क्योंकि आपको काफी चीजें जो हैं यू विल हैव टू रियली व्हाट कैन आई से मग इट अप। अब कौन सी धोती, कौन सा अपैरल, कुकिंग इक्विपमेंट और क्या अटैच हो सकता है क्या नहीं, यू विल हैव टू मग इट अप। तो स्टिल अगर आपके कुछ क्वेश्चन अभी तक इसको पढ़ते पढ़ते कुछ समझ नहीं आया हो अभी तक, कुछ मतलब वैसे तो कई चीजें नहीं आई होंगी, बट जनरली मतलब कि कि I didn't understand anything about a particular subsection. पूरा तो पढ़ना पड़ेगा ही एक बार ना, तब हम इसका डिस्कशन करेंगे, ठीक है? तो अगर अभी नहीं है क्वेश्चन तो he'll continue reading. फिर पढ़ो।
Okay, sir. M. An expectancy of succession by survivorship or other merely contingent or possible right or interest. N. A right to future maintenance. O. Any allowance declared by any Indian law to be exempt from liability to attachment or sale in execution of a decree. And P. Where the judgment debtor is a person liable for the payment of land revenue. Any movable property which under any law for the time being applicable to him is exempt from sale for the recovery of an arrear of such revenue. Explanation 1. The money payables in relation to the matters mentioned in clauses G, H, I, IA, J, L and O are exempt from attachment or sale whether before or after they are actually payable. And in the case of salary, the attachable portion thereof is liable to attachment whether before or after it is actually payable. Explanation 2. In clauses 1 and 1A, salary means the total monthly emoluments excluding any allowance declared exempt from attachment under the provisions of clause L, derived by a person from his employment whether on duty or on leave. Explanation 3. In clause L, appropriate government means as respect any person in the service of the central government or any servant of a railway administration or of a cantonment authority or of the port authority of a major port, the central government. As respects any other servant of the government or a servant of any other local authority, the state government. Explanation 4. For the purposes of this proviso, wages include bonus and laborer includes a skilled, unskilled or semi-skilled laborer. Explanation 5. For the purposes of this proviso, the expression agriculturist means a person who cultivates land personally and who depends for his livelihood mainly on the income from agricultural land, whether as owner, tenant, partner, or laborer. Agricultural laborer. Explanation 6. For the purposes of explanation 5, an agriculturist shall be deemed to cultivate land personally if he cultivates land by his own labor or by the labor of any member of his family or by servants or laborers on wages payable in cash or in kind, not being as a share of the produce, or both. 1a. Notwithstanding anything contained in any other law for the time being in force, an agreement by which a person agrees to waive the benefit of any exemption under this section shall be void. Clause 2. Nothing in this section shall be deemed to exempt houses and other buildings with the materials and the sites thereof and the lands immediately appurtenant thereto and necessary for their enjoyment from attachment or sale in execution of decrees for rent of any such house, building, site or land.
Okay, एक बार read this section again, Ankur.
So the last clause.
नहीं,
clause
this and this section. फिर से एक बार पढ़ लो.
Section 60. The whole section.
I'm joking.
Okay.
Okay. So this is how you have to like really prepare. I don't know how to go about telling you about each thing. I have very extensive notes, but let me try. Okay. Let me ask you a question first. What this section does is कुछ चीजें attach हो सकती हैं किसी की, कुछ चीजें attach नहीं हो सकती किसी की. ठीक है. Just because कुछ चीजें attach नहीं हो सकती does not mean कि किसी person की liability to pay debt चली गई. हाँ बोलो सिमरन, you have a question?
लिखा हुआ है that this for amendments to section 60 in its application to East Punjab, it talks about referring to the Punjab Relief Indebtedness Act. How is the application different?
Where are you reading it from? मैंने पढ़ा है ऐसा कुछ, but where?
Footnote है first वाला 60 पे है. First footnote.
What is the act they have mentioned?
The Punjab Relief of Indebtedness Act 1934.
ऐसा हुआ था उस legislation में that there was some kind of a conflict in that legislation and in the prevailing scheme here. ये तो amendment से आया है, कई सारी चीजें यहाँ पे, बहुत सारी चीजें, as you can see it's messed up. So it was held by a judicial pronouncement in that case, I think. Is the name of a case given? No. होता है कई बार, मतलब कोई एक legislation है for a particular purpose, lex specialis वो है, पर lex generalis जब किसी चीज को void बोल रहा है तो उसमें वो applicable नहीं हो सकता ideally, मतलब नहीं माना जा सकता कोई भी चीज जो section 60 को violate करता है as law, लेकिन उस particular legislation के लिए exception carved out है, बस उसके लिए. You can just remember it. It's not very relevant for CPC की उस legislation में क्या था.
Okay, sir.
Okay. अच्छा. What was I telling you उस समय? What did I say?
अगर प्रॉपर्टी किसी अटैच नहीं हो,
that attachment अगर नहीं हुआ तो liability.
अटैचमेंट नहीं हुआ का मतलब ये कहीं नहीं है कि लाइबिलिटी से मुक्त हो गए आप, राइट? एंड प्लीज ट्राई टू लुक एट इट फ्रॉम द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ अ जजमेंट डेटर. You have a decree of court against you. You may even go to prison. You've got to pay something. So there was a view that people should have the right to decide what they want to attach and what they don't want to attach. Okay. So if I were to ask you, do you think a judgment debtor can contract himself out of deciding whether he wants to attach something or not?
Sir, according to the section itself, it cannot waive the benefit of any exemption under this section.
What provision are you specifically referring to?
Section 61A, clause 1A.
Okay. Everybody agrees?
No, sir.
Yes,
He
sir.
can if he wants.
How?
So this section mainly tells you what property can be attached. Now it is discussion of the person, the judgment debtor, that if there's some other properties of equal value, then he can apply to the court to go for that rather than going for this attachment purpose.
Okay. What do you think about 1A?
So which one is that? सैलरी के रिगार्ड्स में कौन सा वाला? बहुत सारे बने.
नहीं, लास्ट में देखो 61 कैपिटल A.
Okay.
Notwithstanding, पढ़ो. What do you others think? Anything on this?
So he cannot contract himself out.
Okay. Now, that is the position in law. A person cannot contract himself out after the 76th Amendment. What if I ask you, what would have been the position before the 76th Amendment? Could he have contracted himself out then?
कर सकता होगा, तभी उसको रोकने के लिए ये अमेंडमेंट लाए होंगे.
Everyone thinks वो पहले कर सकता था.
So not necessarily. I think it will depend upon the judge's perspective, depending upon judge to judge, how he pursues the section and whether he considers this section to be essential or not.
Okay, that's quite accurate. What had happened was there were very contradictory judgments coming from different high courts. There were some high courts who said, you can't contract yourself out of something which has been provided in law. Why do you think एक laborer की wages को attachment से रोका? Because एक laborer को अपनी wages का entitlement होना चाहिए. वैसे ही वो इतना कम कमाता है, तो उसकी wages attach हो गई, वो कैसे अपनी family का गुजारा करेगा? इसीलिए कुछ classes को identify करा for protection और उनको protection law ने दिया. But there was another view which said that why are we imposing a state will and a state conception of labor, etc., on the individual? Individual will to contract should be given a more great primacy. And एक individual को वो right होनी चाहिए. So ये view भी courts ले रही थी. You can write down. I'll give you say one case जहाँ court ने कहा कि you can exempt yourself. Okay? You can write down Rajendra Kumar versus Chetan Lal. This is AIR 1940, Lahore 65. The whole bunch of cases इस तरीके के. ठीक है? The other view which said that अच्छा जो राजेंद्र कुमार versus चेतन लाल बताया, this view was that someone can contract out. The view was someone can contract out. I think I said the opposite. So the other batch of judgment said, no, a person cannot contract out. This was held by a whole batch of judgments, including, I see a Supreme Court judgment also here. So this is Union of India versus Jyoti Chit Fund and Finance. AIR 1976, Supreme Court 1163. I don't know, this judgment came after the amendment or before it. I think it should have come before the amendment. The amendment was also 76, but maybe it was just before the amendment. So I'll give you another.
Read the name of the case again, please.
The name of the case is Union of India versus Jyoti Chit Fund and Finance. AIR 1976, Supreme Court 1163. I'll give you another case on this exact point कि a person cannot do so. It was Govind Peter versus Dupagunta. Govind Peter versus Dupagunta. This is AIR 1942, Madras 391.
Sir, can you repeat the year?
AIR 1942, Madras 391. So, जब डिफरेंट व्यूज आते हैं कोर्ट्स के तो दो चीजें हो सकती हैं, या तो हाई कोर्ट या तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट एक रूलिंग दे देगा एंड सेटल हो जाएगा लॉ, या फिर जो है कोई अमेंडमेंट आ जाएगा एंड लॉ सेटल करेगा. तो अमेंडमेंट आया और इसने इसको वॉइड कर दिया कि आप ये नहीं कर सकते. इस अमेंडमेंट का बहुत लोगों ने विरोध भी किया, जजेस ऑल्सो, कि ये गलत है, बट कई लोगों ने इसको नहीं विरोध किया. व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट इट? विच व्यू डू यू थिंक यू वुड agree to?
So with certain exceptions, you can allow it.
You should allow it. Can तो नहीं हो सकता, वो तो
Yeah,
clear
you
है.
should allow it.
With certain exceptions is very, very interesting, Paliwal, because do you think there is scope to include exceptions in 60 in the way that provision looks right now?
No, sir.
You know, you can be asked a question on, say, one amendment and kya hua. Maybe you get an essay on the 76th amendment in CPC. Things which people like conventionally don't prepare on. Because 76th amendment was a very, very important amendment into CPC. What do you think? What does this class think generally? How many of you think it's good that you can't contract out of the protections provided by the law here? Why? If I may ask the three people who believe so. Soumya, Ankur, Priyanshi, any one of you who will tell me why?
Sir, I can not with regard to all of the things which can't be attached, but for example, with respect to a person's wearing apparel or the cooking vessels and beds and bedding, with respect to this thing. So if a person is very poor, like a person, there are certain circumstances wherein a person may be coerced to, part with these, so as to maybe in fear of not being imprisoned or certain things like that, and he may not, consider the needs of his wife and children, his family. So for those circumstances, to protect his family from the debt owed by him to a certain person, to protect them, I think it is necessary. And similar is with regards to an agriculturist. Like they are generally very poor in our country, and if their tools and implements are to be parted with, then they will be left with no other option to to earn money, since they might not be knowing anything else. And therefore to protect them, and I think it is necessary.
Okay. I think that was very, very reasoned. How many of you think people should be given that liberty to contract out? Paliwal is one. Only 4 people have given their opinion in a class of 14. Simran is another. Okay. Why would you guys say so? Any one of you? Aman, Simran?
This act already states certain exceptions which must not be attached. So taking consideration with regard to that exceptions, some power could be given for the contract to be executed, so that a person could get benefit or something. We're taking in mind of course, the exceptions that are mentioned. The other things should be given, the person should be given liberty to choose between them.
Okay. You want to add something, Simran?
Not really, sir. Just that in such a scenario, I think it would depend a lot on the case to case and person, like party to party. So if somebody is, extremely vulnerable and poor, then I think, certain kind of relief should be given to them in order to even go ahead with the execution of this. Like if they suppose somebody does not have any kind of resources to pay, and if you snatch away their basic needs also from them, I mean, in a way you are going ahead with the execution of the decree, but then you are leaving them totally impoverished.
Which side are you on? Didn't you like raise your hand saying that people should be allowed?
No, so I think my network is a little slow. So
Acha.
I raised my hand before this. Sorry.
Okay. Do you think having a case-to-case basis thing for something like this will be helpful, or do you think it will promote inconsistency?
It will be helpful.
Everyone agrees?
No,
sorry.
sir. I think it will be detrimental.
Why do you think it will be helpful, Neha?
Because it depends case to case. There might be a difference between one case जहाँ पे एक इंसान he literally don't have anything, and then if you attach the salary, then there will be an issue. And there are some cases in which a person is a rich person but he do not have anything in his own name. जैसे मैंने कल बोला था कि बहुत सारे लोग दूसरे के नाम पे करते हैं या कुछ भी ऐसा. So if we don't consider those things, then again there will be injustice. So इसलिए depend करता है case to case, we can allow them.
Okay. Anyone wants to counter?
I think if
I
case
just-
to... Okay, Raju, you go ahead. Then I'll...
So I just want to add to what Neha said. I suppose there is a farmer and he has two lands. Okay, one is fertile land and the second is it is banjar kind of. Okay, so now the property. Suppose there is decree against him and he wants to attest that property, that land which is banjar. Then what is wrong with that? That's why it must, there should be some liberty given, and it shall depend upon the case to case. That's all.
Banjar land is a good example. Anyone who wants to counter? Since many of you said no.
So I think if case to case we will leave it to, there might be a chance of abuse of power. It might become opportunist for some people. That's what I think.
Okay. Anybody else? The reason I'm asking you these questions is they should be the questions your answer has to answer. Then you deal with a question like that. These are the arguments that have to come out very well. Then you write your answers. So, nobody has anything more to say here?
Sir, I have something to say on judicial discretion.
हाँ, बताओ.
So, while we were talking to deal a matter on case-to-case basis, so there can be certain problems as well. So, like in the criminal law, death penalty, deciding the quantum sentences, let's say a judicial discretion. So that is to a variety of contradictory opinions, or as important or vital as death penalty has so much to say on it, and there are contradictory opinions on both the sides. So therefore, I think uniformity becomes a problem, and also I think it was mentioned during a webinar. I don't remember exactly. So it was mentioned that एक case था, तो उसमें the judge converted the sentence or increased the quantum of it at the last moment just because he did not in his entire career give any death sentence to anybody. So these things also come into picture, and also the psyche or the ideology of judge plays a role in the case decision. So maybe that is one of the aspects.
I hope all of you, with your very different opinions, are very clear with the position of law. The position of law is you can't contract out. Okay? Now, all of you have to really collate your thoughts and reason your thoughts when you write your answer. Okay?
Sir?
Yes?
So can you reason out some of the points, please?
Okay. For what side?
Whichever side you want.
We'll do both. Let's go with first against the settled law, which is that you can not contract out. So I feel it really undermines human agency. That's number one. The concept of will. Number two, I think it is out of sync in today's day and age, where the state is not supposed to decide for individuals, and you've got to really promote individual autonomy. The third thing I would say is it is also very patriarchal. If you look at some of the people who are being protected, women, for example, बीच बीच में लिखा हुआ है उसमें कुछ subsections में, वो नहीं कर सकती, ये नहीं कर सकती. I think it is pejorative, stigmatic, and patriarchal also, and that is not something which the law should be doing in the 21st century. And subject to certain safeguards and a judicial authority, every individual should be allowed to take their own decisions. That's my view for allowing departure from the law. If one was to argue for the law, I would say that India is a socialist country by definition, by our very preamble. And we've got to take care of a huge section of society in a very unequal country. That's number one. Number two, I would say that it would render section 60 almost infructuous. What was the need to have that kind of a section if you can allow people to just do what they want? So there is a reason you have something like that to protect the vulnerable groups. So section 60 would be rendered almost infructuous or useless. Thirdly, I would say that it is for the legislature to decide what is the law. They have decided that the law is you can't contract out of a decree liability with regard to certain things in which the state is protecting you. If the state is protecting you, you should not be allowed to reduce their protection to a nullity in a country where there is a lot of abuse of such provisions. So I think it can be argued very well both ways. There's a lot of material. And then, of course, see, all this was very generic. I have not referred to some of the specific provisions because I am not the one who's going to memorize them. It is you. So you've got to like spice it up with specific illustrations. Okay, is that helpful?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So this was about section 60 ka overall thing.
Sir, I have a thing to say. So
Yes,
in the
yes.
comment section of this section,
Hmm.
section 60, it says that immunity from attachment with regard to residential house is not
Hmm.
available to debtor unless he establishes connection between the agricultural operations carried on by him
Hmm.
and the house sought to be attached.
Hmm.
So in the example which Raju gave, I think,
Hmm.
with regard to two lands and one being futile and one being fertile and the other not so fertile. So can't we say that the land which is not fertile, since it is not used for agricultural purposes, that can be attached? So the need for personal discretion in that regard is not called for.
Okay, what do you think, Raju?
I think that person shall be allowed to attach that property. That's what I. Because
But
that property is of no use for that person anymore. No?
But see, in all fairness to what you've said, Ankur, I'm sure you'd understand that if one were to get into that hair-splitting exercise of finding loopholes in the so-called protections provided in 60, they will be successfully able to provide them. For example, apparel. If I have a lot of clothes, I may not be a garment manufacturer or a seller, etc. If someone can do something, is willing to do something, and yet the law forbids that person, can that not ever be problematic?
Sorry, sir, I didn't get you. Can you repeat?
I said that if one were to look at some of the protections provided by the law in section 60, they will be able to bring out a case where the law is causing some kind of an impediment in performance of a duty. जजमेंट उनके खिलाफ आया है, पहले ही वो परेशान है, उसके बाद लॉ ने उनको प्रोटेक्ट करने के नाम पे थोड़ा अनफेयरली रोका हुआ सा है, तो ऐसी सिचुएशन क्या अराइज हो ही नहीं सकती? डू यू थिंक सो?
Sir, it can, but I was in the like my view was that those cases will not be so substantial. I mean, the personal discretion in those cases is not so important when it comes to the person who's like they are fraudulently or coerced into giving away the basic things which they have the right to enjoy, which are protected under this section. So if you compare those, I was in that mindset. I'm
Okay,
not saying
see,
that there might be
it
instances
is a
where
value choice. You're right, it is a value choice. It's just at what side you choose, and you can just need to reason it well. है ना? But good what you said about the specific example Raju gave. What I'm just trying to say is कि कोई specific example ढूंढने का section 60 में उसको मिल जाएगा, बहुत मसाला है उसमें. यहाँ discretion could have been probably more helpful. I want you to make this, like, note this case, Fakir Chand versus Harnam Kaur. अच्छा, now tell me, if there is a property, मैं अभी इसका citation वगैरह आपको देता हूँ, but let me first ask you, if there is a property owned by a man and he's lost a case. Now the property is being attached for execution purposes. Can the seller also sell the stake of the son of the man in that property? Can the seller or can the judgment holder, the decree holder, sell the share of the son of the judgment debtor if the property is undivided and presently held by the judgment debtor or not?
सर एक केस हो सकता है जैसे कि इसने प्रॉपर्टी ली और अपने सन के नाम से कर रखी है, तो उस केस में क्या होगा फिर? क्योंकि फिर वो तो सन का ही शेयर होगा.
तुम उस केस पे पहुंच गए, पहले मुझे इसका तो जवाब दो.
No, sir, that property won't be liable to be attached.
Why?
He is not a party to a suit or anything. If it is his share, how can you compare the third person to execute his property?
Since the decree is not against the son, the property cannot be attached. The share of the son.
Everyone agrees?
If the property belongs to father itself and he is the sole owner, he has only purchased. So if it is undivided, then of course it can be.
Sir, I think I also agree with Neha. Since it's not an ancestral property, then can be maybe.
Do you agree with them, Raju and Aman? Raju, Aman?
Yes, sir.
Sir. अच्छा.
अरे बोलो.
So question क्या था? It was for us.
I think you guys are also distracted. So what was held here was that a creditor can attach and sell the interest of the father and the son in the joint family property under a decree obtained against the father alone, because the father has the power of disposal over property in order to satisfy debts incurred by him.
So over here, section 53 will apply, right? Or can apply liability of ancestral property also?
Yes, it can also apply. Yes, it can also apply. But what if it's not ancestral? What if the man brought it himself and there is now, it will become in ancestral after him? Like after, say, generations go by. So the citation is AIR 1967, Supreme Court 727. Who wants to take up this case for a presentation for next Saturday? Saturday.
May I?
Mm-hmm. Okay, Muskan, do it.
Sir, in this case, what if the property is divided? Then also the property can be attached?
No, because the property is divided. जहाँ कोर्ट की डिक्री से प्रॉपर्टी डिवाइड हो गई, no question of attaching someone else's property. Then all that you were saying, you and Aman, will apply.
Okay.
So, in Hindu law, a person dissolves interest in the property with his birth, right?
Yes.
So there is a certain rights of the purpose of the son in the property only, and father is only a guardian or caretaker of the property. Really get major.
Interesting argument. Maybe this was dealt with by the Supreme Court, जो अभी मुस्कान प्रिपेयर करेगी. But let me tell you, ऐसे तो ये होगा अमन कि कल को जब तुम जज बनते हो, अच्छे आदमी बनते हो, तुम अपना घर खरीदते हो, तो तुम्हारे जो बच्चा अभी होगा, मतलब जब भी, तो उसका एक है इंटरेस्ट उस प्रॉपर्टी में. यू अंडरस्टैंड थोड़ा सा एब्सर्डिटी देयर. वो
Yes, sir.
इट्स टू फार फेच्ड. अभी यू बॉट इट फॉर योरसेल्फ. देयर इज नो क्वेश्चन, इट्स योर प्रॉपर्टी, राइट? तो थोड़ा सा
Yes,
वो
sir.
कंजेक्चर के उस पे है, बट इंटरेस्टिंग आर्गुमेंट.
बट सर इसमें तो खरीदा है, अगर एंसेस्ट्रल प्रॉपर्टी हो तो?
53 पढ़ो राजू.
या पढ़.
Is it clear? Can someone quickly read section 53?
Yeah, I'll read. Liability of ancestral property. For the purpose of section 50 and section 52, property in the hands of son or other descendant, which is liable under Hindu law for the payment of the debt of a deceased ancestor, in respect of which a decree has been passed, shall be deemed to be property of the deceased, which has come to the hands of this son or the descendant as his legal representative.
तो डिसीज्ड के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हो सकता है. डिसीज्ड का कॉन्टेक्स्ट नहीं है तो नहीं हो सकता है. 53 इज वेरी क्लियर. दूसरी बात, प्रोविजंस लाइक 53 जो कहते हैं हमारी डेफिनेशन इज ओनली फॉर से 50 एंड 52, इट्स नॉट ऑलवेज सो. इवन दो यू रिमेंबर लीगल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव, नो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव को हमने डिफाइन किया था, डज इट मीन लीगल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव? वो डिफरेंट टर्म्स थे, बट जब किसी चीज को कोई डिफाइन कर रहा है, द प्रिजम्पशन इज इट इज अ डेफिनेशन फॉर एवरीथिंग, इवन दो इट इज आल्सो एक्सप्लिसिटली सेइंग इट इज ओनली फॉर दीस टू सेक्शंस. If the other side is able to prove that it is only for these two sections and not for everything, then that's a separate matter. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, who do you think is an agriculturist? If someone is also having a poultry, if someone is a farmer and also some other thing, would he fall in the definition of the agriculturist?
Sir, this section, the explanation 5 particularly talks about the income from agricultural land, whose livelihood is dependent on.
Can you read it? What does it say?
Yeah. So for the purpose of this proviso, the expression agriculturist means a person who cultivates land personally and who depends for his livelihood mainly on the income from agricultural land, whether as owner, tenant, partner, or agricultural laborer.
Now, what about poultry? Does everyone know what's poultry?
Yes, can you repeat the
Yes,
question? Is it related to tax or something you're asking, or something else?
Tax? समझा नहीं मैंने यहाँ.
No, I want to can you repeat the question?
I am saying section 60 एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट की बात करता है, उसे प्रोटेक्ट करता है. मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ, एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट की जब हम डेफिनेशन की बात कर रहे हैं तो हु इज एन एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट? फार्मर को एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट मानेंगे, या कोई जो पोल्ट्री कर रहा है, एनिमल हस्बेंड्री कर रहा है, ये सारी चीजें भी कर रहा है, फिशरी भी चला रहा है, विल ही बी एन एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट? दैट्स द क्वेश्चन.
Going by the literal definition of the explanation, poultry or other animal husbandry wouldn't be included in agriculture. But if we have to give a broader context to it, because since they are dependent on such things, so it might include. But if we have to give a literal interpretation, then it won't.
What would you give?
Sure, I'll have to read upon it. I don't know as of now.
I don't think so. It should
Sir?
include.
Sir, I have a question here.
Okay. Agriculture is exciting. Tell me.
Sir, I was saying, suppose फिशिंग कर रहा है एक बंदा और वो लैंड पर्टिकुलरली फिशिंग के लिए यूज कर रहा है, तो वो लैंड एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड होगी क्या?
If I give you the answer, then ये पूरा discussion वो थोड़ा pointless हो जाएगा. रुको. पहले मुझे बताओ, what do you think about my question? Hold it for like 2 minutes.
Sir,
No, sir.
I
It
think
won't.
I don't think
Sir,
it's agriculture.
Sir, I think poultry included है क्योंकि इसमें explanation 6 specifically talks about cultivation of land and cultivation में horticulture भी आता है.
Very good. तो चलो किसी ने अंकुर का वो पूरा rant पढ़ा, section 60 सुना. Good. चलो that's one answer. Anything else? Like many people were saying something.
No, I don't know. मेरा दिमाग टैक्स में ही जा रहा है that it is not in agriculture. मतलब वो एग्रीकल्चर इनकम में नहीं आता है बेसिकली. मेरे टैक्स में वो दिमाग घूम रहा है. I don't know why.
Okay. You can write this case. Appa Sahib versus Bal Chandra. Appa Sahib versus Bal Chandra. This is AIR 1961, Supreme Court 589.
19.
61, Supreme Court 589. Okay. इसमें एग्रीकल्चरिस्ट को सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने थोड़ा डील किया है, डिफाइन किया है एंड थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन किया है. विद रिगार्ड टू योर क्वेश्चन राजू, एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड नहीं होगा अगर कोई फिशरी चला रहा है. एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड में कुछ काइंड ऑफ कल्टीवेशन एक्टिविटी होनी चाहिए. Agriculture by definition has to involve some kind of cultivation, but there are certain allied things which are read into agriculture. Why do you think farmers also have cattle? Because they like the dung of cattle is used as manure, right? And it's a काफी self-sustaining सा एक ecosystem हो जाता है. Same with other cattle and dairy, poultry, etc. So if you look at the section, it does not say only, exclusively, it says mainly. So when Ankur you're saying कि either you read it literally तो नहीं होगा, purposively तो होगा, तो literally भी पढ़ो तो mainly कह रहा है. The word is not only. The word is not, मतलब इतना भी closed door नहीं है. So there is scope for other activities also to come in. Okay? But
Okay, sir.
different high courts have taken different views. मतलब बहुत इसमें mess है agriculture पे, बहुत ज़्यादा. What do you guys generally think about agriculture? I remember अभी किसी ने, one of you actually said that agriculture should be protected. उनको tax वैक्स नहीं देना. ये जैसे अभी I think Ankur only said when we were discussing attachment होना चाहिए या नहीं. What do you think say about like big farmers who are earning very well, like the big landowning farmers? And I hope you know they have like zero tax liability.
It is exempted.
Yes, sir, they are exempted.
So how many of you think it's an unfair exemption?
Sir, when law was made, it was not unfair because some sealing acts and many acts were implemented. So that the big lands could be divided into small pieces and all. But-
Still, in agriculture tax की बात किया जाए तो there are exemption, but there are also few agriculture जहाँ पे tax लगता है, like flowers. अगर आप flowers का agriculture कर रहे हो, then you have to pay tax. So there are other agricultures also which involves tax. So we cannot say जैसे sugar cane वगैरह. So there are few exceptions also where you have to pay tax. So it is fair enough, I guess.
Okay. Anyone who thinks blanket exemptions to agriculture are unfair?
But I feel that there should be slabs, like how there are income tax slabs. So when it comes to agriculture, also only if it's above a certain kind level of income that the person is making, they should be liable to pay a little bit of tax at least above an
Simran, do
income.
you expect that agriculture to maintain an account or something?
If they're big farmers, of course, I'm pretty sure they do maintain some kind of accounting.
Yeah, but I'm very intrigued by. So even then Simran says कि बड़े farmers हैं, then why do you say little bit of tax? What does that mean?
So as far as accounting and all is concerned, I know about from personal knowledge because my father is into certain activities and he was into it big time. It's reduced now. So there is every kind of activity has some kind of accounting that goes into it. You don't do it blindsidedly, especially when it's on a really big scale. So what I meant was that since agriculture is a very primary activity and it supports a lot of other things, so maybe tax shouldn't be a very heavy tax, but certain amount of taxes should be there, I think.
How many of you agree with Simran? How many of you don't agree with that view?
सर आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन जनरली लाइक सपोज देयर इज एक फार्मर है उसके पास बहुत सारी लैंड है लेकिन उसकी प्रोडक्टिविटी कुछ है ही नहीं तो उसका क्या होगा फिर
उसका क्या होगा? उसका कुछ नहीं होगा, बुरा होगा उसके साथ, पीपली लाइव हो जाएगा.
But I think I don't remember, but they have a slab. Certain slab है agriculture income के लिए भी. That if you go beyond that, you have to pay certain amount of tax.
देखो,
I don't remember, but if you will say, मैं search करके बता सकती हूँ.
हाँ सर्च करना, बट वैसे मेरी नॉलेज में नहीं है. एग्रीकल्चर इनकम इज कंप्लीटली एग्जाम. कुछ कमोडिटीज जो तुमने बताई,
State governments.
कुछ
But
कमोडिटी,
mainly cash crops.
हाँ कैश क्रॉप्स एंड कुछ चीजों पे इट्स कम, एंड वो भी बहुत फनी वे में आया है, उसकी प्रोसेसिंग पे आया है. फॉर एग्जांपल वो उसको अभी भी बड़ा एक होली काउ है. एग्रीकल्चर इज अ होली काउ, बट इंटरेस्टिंग व्यूज. ओके, see, the reason I'm leaving these discussions open-ended is because there is no right or wrong answer here, right? So that's for you to generally answer for yourself. What else can I tell you about this section? Anything you want me to elaborate in this section?
सर कोई इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट बता दो.
क्या बताऊं इसमें important point बता.
Sir, can
salary
you
of-
explain point M, if you can explain a bit?
पढ़ो.
M, an expectancy of succession by survivorship or other merely contingent to or possible right or interest.
Just a second. तुमने पढ़ा क्या अभी? वो जितनी तेज तेज तुम्हारी आवाज आई.
Yes, sir. फिर से पढ़ूं?
हाँ, क्योंकि मुझे कुछ समझ सा नहीं आया तुमने क्या बोला.
An expectancy of succession by survivorship or other merely contingent or possible right or interest.
तो इसमें you were wanting to ask what specifically? इसका मतलब क्या है?
Sir, I don't know. Maybe I was thinking that इसका कहीं ना कहीं कोई relation है क्या unborn child से or something.
देखते हैं. पहले तो ये देखो ये किसके अंडर आ रहा है. ये क्या एक प्रोवाइजो के अंडर है? Provided that the
Sir, exemption के अंदर है ये.
What a pathetic drafting, man. मतलब this is an expectancy of succession by survivorship or other merely contingent or possible right or interest. ये क्या कह रहे हैं? ये हो सकता है अटैच या नहीं हो सकता है अटैच. Shall not be liable to such attachment. हाँ, they are referring to an unborn child in a way, प्रियांशी. और कह रहे नहीं हो सकता अटैच.
So it's mainly referring to the spec succession under TPA.
हाँ, कुड बी. तो अनबॉर्न चाइल्ड तो एक सीपीसी कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है ना, वो हर जगह है. अनबॉर्न चाइल्ड हमने जूरिस में पढ़ा था ना.
Yes, sir.
Section 13 TPA
हम्म.
113 succession है.
It is referring to it.
Okay, sir. That was only doubt.
Okay.
So I
Any
have a
other
doubt.
question? Yes.
So salary of a guarantor.
Where? What are you?
No, I'm just in curious mind if a person is liable for some liability and the person is a guarantee for that and that missed that or something, the guarantor plays the part of paying it.
मैं समझा नहीं. Guarantor क्या?
So there are three parties, right? Creditor,
हाँ.
debtor and the guarantee person who has given the guarantee.
Guarantor is the one who gives the guarantee, ना?
Yeah.
हाँ.
If debtor fails to pay the creditor,
हाँ, तो guarantor देगा, ठीक है.
guarantor देगा, तो एग्जीक्यूशन के समय पे उसकी सैलरी अटैच की जा सकती है और हिज समथिंग,
देखो,
प्रॉपर्टी और सैलरी.
सैलरी पर ये क्या कह रहा है? अटैच की जा सकती है सैलरी?
हाँ, एक्सेप्ट 1/3 2/3 ऑफ द सैलरी. यस.
हाँ, तो गारंटर पे भी यही लगेगा. जो क्रेडिटर पर लगेगा, डेटर पे लगेगा, वही गारंटर पर भी लगेगा.
ओके सर.
Okay. Any other question about this section? Trying to see if I can tell you.
सर प्रतिभा ने कुछ मैसेज में लिखा है.
क्या लिखा है? पढ़ दो.
Pious, so the son will have pious obligation for the purpose of section 53.
उसने 53 के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में लिखा होगा ना, जब हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे. Yes. There will be some kind of obligation. Okay, I think this is largely what I can tell you, and a couple of case laws I think I've given you. एक ही दिया है मैंने तुम्हें या दो दिए हैं केस लॉज अभी ऑन सेक्शन 60?
दो दिए.
तो ठीक है. बहुत फनी केस लॉज है. मंगल सूत्र पे है, फिर ये ओके थाली एंड कपड़ों पे है, और कढ़ाई पे है, गुड़ पे है. So there is a conflict among. अच्छा, what do you think about a pump set? A pump set on an agricultural land, which is in fact being used for giving water to the animals. What do you think about it? Do you think it is exempt from attachment? This pump set is not being used for watering the crops. It's being used for husbandry purposes, but it is on agricultural land.
Yes, sir. क्योंकि the clause B provides for that. His implement of husbandry and such cattle.
Everyone agrees with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the
Sir, if
Supreme
it
Court,
enables him to earn his livelihood.
the Supreme Court has said it's an open question. The case is Shanti Devi versus State of Uttar Pradesh.
But anything in cultural land, agricultural land, if anything is attached, अगर वो attached है but still it is not in the use of agriculture, तो उसको हम consider नहीं करते हैं ना agriculture में.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि ओपन है ये क्वेश्चन. समवन कैन एक्चुअली रीड दिस केस, यू नो, इट्स जस्ट लेफ्ट ओपन. मतलब सेक्शन 60 का बहुत कंक्लूसिव केस लॉज बहुत कम है.
So what was the name? Shanti Devi versus
स्टेट ऑफ उत्तर प्रदेश, AIR 1997, सुप्रीम कोर्ट 3541. ओके, आई थिंक लेट्स मूव ऑन फ्रॉम हियर नाउ. इतना ही है इसमें, बहुत सारी चीजें हैं बट इतना याद कर लो एंड बाकी चीजें याद कर लो, एंड एनी क्वेश्चंस हो तो पूछो. Who will read section 61?
may I?
Okay.
Section 61. Partial exemption of agricultural produce. The state government may by general or special order published in the official gazette declare that such portion of agricultural produce or or of any class of agricultural produce as may appear to the state government to be necessary for the purpose of providing until the next harvest for the due cultivation of the land and for the support of the judgment debtor and his family shall, in the case of all agriculturalists or of any class of agriculturists, be exempted from liability to attachment or sale and execution of a decree.
Any questions about 61? The object of this section is to help the agriculturists so that they can continue their agricultural work despite execution proceedings. Okay. Under this section, agricultural produce has been granted partial exemption. Partial exemption can be granted to any class of agricultural produce by means of general or special order of the state government published in the official gazette. The portion of the agricultural produce exempted should be such as may appear to the state government to be necessary for the purpose of providing until the next harvest for the due cultivation of the land and for the support of the judgment debtor and his family. Anything else you want to know about section 61, or should we go to 62?
So we can go to 62.
Okay, then who will read?
Yeah.
Okay.
Section 62, seizure of property in dwelling house. No person executing any process under this code directing or authorizing seizure of movable property shall enter any dwelling house after sunset and before sunrise. No outer door or dwelling house shall be open unless such dwelling house is in the occupancy of a judgment debtor and he refuses or in any way prevent access thereto. But when the person executing any such process has duly gained access to the dwelling house, he may break open the door of any room in which he has reason to believe any such property to be. Where a room in a dwelling house is in actual occupancy of a woman who, according to the custom of a country, does not appear in public, the person executing the process shall give notice to such person that such woman that she is at liberty to withdraw, and after allowing reasonable time for her to withdraw and giving her reasonable facility for withdrawing, he may enter such room for the purpose of seizing the property, using at the same time every precaution consistent with this provision to prevent clandestine removal.
Clandestine का मतलब सब समझते हैं, secretive. Okay. And section 62 को अगर आप देखोगे तो it is very similar to section 55. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What does section 55 deal with?
Arrest and detention.
तो जिस तरीके से सेक्शन 55 ऑफ द कोड प्रोवाइड करता है कि एक जजमेंट डेटर में बी अरेस्टेड, वैसे ही 62 प्रोवाइड करता है कि एक मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी में बी सीज्ड इन एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ एनी डिक्री. और बहुत सिमिलैरिटी है 55 एंड 62 में, एज यू कैन नोटिस. अच्छा, इफ आई मे आस्क यू, डू यू थिंक someone's veranda or courtyard would be a part of the dwelling house? Or do you think someone's garage or a godown would be a part of a dwelling house?
So dwelling, your veranda or a garage can be included, but godown not as such. Because
Why?
it's not used for dwelling. It's used for storing or something of commercial product or something.
What if it is used for storing some personal products also?
Then it will be under the dwelling house.
Everyone agrees?
Sir, I think dwelling refers to the residential place where the person lives and carries on his household chores. So a garage or a godown as such won't be included in a dwelling house.
What about a courtyard? What about, say, a cow shed?
So courtyard, I think, is a part of the house.
Cow
They
shed?
use it. Cow shed is different. I mean, from the house. How, like, it's not a courtyard, right?
I don't have a cow. You tell me. What do you think? Is a
No, I
cow
mean
shed?
not. No, I don't think so. It will be a part of the dwelling house.
Okay. Write down the name of a case. Manikal versus Gauri Shankar. Manikal versus Gauri Shankar. GAORI है, तभी गौरी बोल रहा हूँ मैं. गौरी शंकर. AIR 1968. Calcutta 245. इसमें cowshed has been included in the dwelling house. Go down, as rightly pointed out by all of you, is not included in the definition of a dwelling house. तो मणिकाल वाला केस कोई प्रेजेंट करना चाहेगा?
So I'll do it.
Okay. Let's come to 63 then. Who will read?
Sir, I'll read आराम से.
हाँ, आराम से पढ़ो.
Okay. 63. Property attached in execution of decrees of several courts. Subsection 1. Where property not in the custody of any court is under attachment in execution of decrees of more courts than one, the court which shall receive or realize such property and shall determine any claim thereto, and any objection to the attachment thereof, shall be the court of highest grade, or where there is no difference in grade between such courts, the court under whose decree the property was first attached. Subsection 2. Nothing in this section shall be deemed to invalidate any proceeding taken by a court executing one of such decrees. Explanation. For the purposes of subsection 2, proceeding taken by a court does not include an order allowing to a decree holder who has purchased property at a sale held in execution of a decree set off to the extent of the purchase price payable by him.
तो ऐसी सिचुएशन जहां पे कोई एक प्रॉपर्टी सेवरल डिक्रीज में अटैच हो गई है, उससे डील करता है 63. कहता है कि जहां प्रॉपर्टी इज नॉट इन द कस्टडी किसी एक कोर्ट की, where the property not in the custody of any court is under attachment in the execution of decrees of more courts than one. The courts which shall receive or realize such property and shall determine any claim thereto and any objection to the attachment thereof shall be the court of highest grade, or where there is no difference in grade between such courts, the court under whose decree the property was first attached. तो जैसे अगर दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट का सिविल सूट चल रहा है, सिविल ओरिजिनल जुरिसडिक्शन, और नोएडा के किसी डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट का चल रहा है, तो दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट विल बी द कोर्ट, राइट? बट जहां पे कोर्ट्स का ग्रेड डिफरेंट नहीं है, वहां पे जहां वो प्रॉपर्टी सिचुएटेड है वहां की कोर्ट. At the same time, nothing in this section shall be deemed to invalidate any proceeding by a court executing one such decrees. Which means section 63 is more in the nature of an enabling provision. It's a provision for convenience. It is not a provision for, excluding court jurisdiction. Section 63 is premised on the principle of convenience. It is to avoid multiplicity of proceedings and to ensure equitable distribution of assets of a judgment debtor. It does not lay down any principle of exclusion. इसका मतलब it is not to be used to exclude jurisdiction of court in any situation. Okay? Any question? Should we move on to 64?
Yes, sir. So before that, can you tell me the name of the case which I have to present? Is it Manika or Menaka?
What do you think? Guess?
Sir, I searched it on the Google, but I didn't find any with Manika or Menaka.
It is Manikal, Manikal.
Okay.
Versus Gauri
Versus
Shankar.
Gauri Shankar. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, who will read 64? Who will read 64?
Should I?
Soumya, you want to read?
Sure, sir, I'll read. Section 64. Private alienation of property after attachment to be void. Subsection 1. where an attachment has been made, any private transfer or delivery of the property attached or of any interest therein, and any payment to the judgment debtor of any debt, dividend, or other monies contrary to such attachment shall be void as against all claims enforceable under the attachment. Explanation: for the purposes of this section, claims enforceable under an attachment includes claims for the rateable distribution of assets. Subsection 2. Nothing in this section shall apply to any private transfer or delivery of the property attached or of any interest therein made in pursuance of any contract for such transfer or delivery entered into and registered before the attachment.
So wherever an attachment has been made under this section, कोई भी private transfer or delivery of the property attached or of any interest therein also shall be void. तो इनका कोई मतलब नहीं रहेगा ऐसी किसी private transfer का. Such provisions are intended to prevent fraud on the decree holder, as also to protect the rights of the attaching creditor against the attached property. तो ताकि जो जीता है केस उसके साथ कोई धोखा ना हो जाए, उसकी राइट फ्रस्ट्रेट ना हो जाए. In the context of section 64, it is not sufficient that an order of attachment has been made, but the attachment must have been made. तो सेक्शन 64 के लिए अटैचमेंट होना चाहिए. सिर्फ ऑर्डर हो गया है वो नहीं होगा. तो मतलब अगर ऑर्डर हो गया है अटैचमेंट नहीं हुआ है तो 64 के लिए सफिशिएंट नहीं है, क्योंकि 64 के टफ टर्म्स हैं जो किसी को इमीडिएटली एक्सक्लूड कर देंगे. Can someone quickly also read Order 21, Rule 54?
Sir, I'll read.
Okay.
Attachment of immovable property. Sub-rule 1. Where the property is immovable, the attachment shall be by an order prohibiting the judgment debtor from transferring or charging the property in any way, and all persons from taking any benefit from such transfer or charge. 1a. The order shall also require the judgment debtor to attend court on a specified date to take notice of the date to be fixed for settling the terms of the proclamation of sale. Sub-rule 2. The order shall be proclaimed at some place on or adjacent to such property by beat of drum or other customary mode, and a copy of the order shall be affixed on a conspicuous part of the property, and then upon a conspicuous part of the courthouse, and also where the property is land paying revenue to the government, in the office of the collector of the district in which the land is situate, and where the property is land situate in a village, also in the office of the Gram Panchayat, if any, having jurisdiction over that village.
Okay. So Order 21, Rule 54 के जो भी terms हैं with regard to attachment of immovable property, that have to be complied with for the mandate of section 64 also. Also, I think you should write down a case. It's an important case for this provision. SG Films Exchange versus Brijnath Singh. SG Films Exchange versus Brijnath Singh. It's AIR 1975, Supreme Court 1810. AIR 1975, Supreme Court 1810. यहाँ पे the court has held that lease of a theatre, when the theatre was subject to attachment in execution of a decree against the owner, is struck by the provisions in section 64.
Sir, could you please repeat?
Lease of a theatre, when the theatre was subject to attachment, lease of a theatre when the theatre was subject to attachment in execution of a decree against the owner, is struck by the provisions in section 64. Now, you'd notice I told you earlier कि 64 के लिए attachment हो जाना चाहिए था, mere order of attachment भी नहीं होगा, लेकिन at the same time it's important to ensure कि decree holders frustrate ना हो जाए. So maybe you will get some interesting insight in this judgment, कि how that works. Would anyone want to do a case presentation on it next Saturday? Okay, you can do it somewhere. Any question on section 64? You want to read, Simran?
Okay, sir.
Hmm.
Section 65. Purchaser's title. Where immovable property is sold in execution of a decree and such sale has become absolute.
Just a second. एक second रोकूंगा मैं. There's something else also I want to tell you about. Write down a couple of more cases for 64. This is VK Sridharan versus Balakrishnan. VK Sridharan versus Balakrishnan. This is 1993 SCC 291. Also, Hamda Amal, HAMDA, Hamda Amal versus Avadiappa. Hamda Amal versus Avadiappa. This is 1991, 1 SCC 715.
Sir, could you please repeat citation?
किस वाले का? Avadiappa.
हाँ.
1991, 1 SCC 715. इसमें क्या है? These cases deal with subsection 2. As you would note, subsection 2 was added by the 2002 amendment in CPC. And it was intended to protect the interests of bona fide purchasers. Okay. क्या हुआ है? Subsection 2 protects the interests of bona fide purchasers. इन दो केसेस में bona fide purchasers को के इंटरेस्ट को नहीं प्रोटेक्ट किया सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने. इसीलिए 2002 का ये अमेंडमेंट आया और bona fide purchasers के इंटरेस्ट को प्रोटेक्ट करने की कोशिश हुई. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने 64 को कुछ ऐसे पढ़ लिया था कि bona fide purchasers के इंटरेस्ट को नहीं प्रोटेक्ट किया था, तभी ये अमेंडमेंट आया. So can someone prepare these two cases together? This is the history of this subsection. I think it can help you in your answers अगर ऐसा कुछ आ जाता है. ये दो cases कोई एक साथ कर सकता है for Saturday? Okay, Priyanshi. There's another case actually. There are some cases I've written here. Johnny, Johney, Johnny versus State of Tamil Nadu. AIR 1988. Supreme Court 108. इसमें ये हुआ था कि when a mortgagee inducted a tenant जहां पे property was under attachment, such lease so created was in contravention of section 64 of the code. तो जहां mortgagee tenant को ले आया, जो lease पर लाया वो mortgagee उस tenant को, it was held to be violative of section 64. जहां property is also under litigation in some way. Everything is fine, Priyanshi?
Yes, sir, I was just changing my place.
So, any questions on 64? इन दो केसेस के बारे में सबको समझ में आया ना? सबसेक्शन 2 क्यों आया? ये इन दो डिसीजंस की वजह से आया. ये दो डिसीजंस क्या थे ये हमें प्रियांशी बताएगी.
Yes, sir. इन दोनों में ये आया था कि before 2002 amendment, सब क्लॉज 2 को मतलब सब क्लॉज 2 नहीं था, तो यहाँ पे बोनाफाइड परचेसेस के राइट्स प्रोटेक्ट नहीं हो रहे थे क्योंकि इस पे स्पेसिफिकली दिया गया है कि कोई भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वॉइड होगा. That's why
मेरा मतलब था प्रियांशी बताएगी से. नहीं, you are audible but you are speaking 6 days in advance. तो मैं ये सैटरडे को बताना ये केसेस पढ़ के ना.
Okay sir, okay, sorry.
Okay. अब पढ़ो 65 सिमरन.
Okay, sir. Purchaser's title. Where immovable property is sold in execution of a decree and such sale has become absolute, the property shall be deemed to have vested in the purchaser from the time when the property is sold and not from the time when the sale becomes absolute.
Important section. Can you also read Order 21, Rules 89 to 95?
Yes, sir. Just one second.
How long are they? Rules 89 to 95 of Order 21?
2.5 pages.
तो ऐसा करो, एक बार इसको सब लोग पढ़ो मन में. Order 21, Rules 89 to 95. It's important to read them with Section 65. ऐसा करते हैं. I think this is going to take 4-5 मिनट आपको पढ़ने में. तो आप ये पढ़ लो, ठीक है? Order 21, Rules 89 to 95. And from here I will continue in the next class. Okay? You can read them once. Like 2 मिनट बचे हैं, I know. तो आप लोग इसे पढ़ लो. And then I will explain what does this mean. What does it mean कि if something is absolute, when something is not absolute. Not that difficult, but Order 21, Rule 89 to 95 पढ़ लो. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay then. Good night to all of you.